Alright guys, hey, what's up? Welcome to another video. Today we are going to be reacting to how Norway's prisons are different from America's. And I'm excited to watch this because I know America has a high crime rate and our prison sucks. So, let's go ahead and check this out. And this is by Now This. Yeah, here we go.
Staying in a maximum security prison is not a normal life, but that's also an ambition, to reduce the feeling of being in a prison as much as possible.
And in here you have my cell. So I have DVD and movies from there.
The basic question that we ask ourselves in Norway, what kind of neighbor do we really want? Because they could move into my neighborhood and they could move into your neighborhood. So I think this is an important question to ask ourselves, really. That should have an influence on how we work inside prisons.
The U.S. has the world's largest incarcerated population with 655 out of every 100,000 people behind bars. That's an issue. And a lot of it sucks to say that they will send drug addicts to prison. And I don't fully agree with that because there is help for those type of people. And being in prisons are not going to help their situation. They're going to come out even worse, not knowing how to live. On top of that, trying to learn how to live without drugs. So, wow.
It's not for the prison to judge or to punish. We have to interact and be human. I think it's as simple as that.
In response to riots, high recidivism rates, and then murder of two correctional officers in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Norway began to re-examine and reconstruct its approach to corrections.
The important thing is how we treat people. This is the 4 key elements that I would like you to remember. The principle of normality, the focus that we have in Norway on humanity inside prisons, what we call dynamic security, and the emphasis that we put on reintegration into society.
A group of activists, researchers, and corrections officers from America visit Norway in the fall of 2019. This group of activists, research, and correctional officers from America visit.
The main goal of the trip is for inspiration to go bold back in the United States.
Let's talk a little bit more about Halden then. How do we work and what are the unique things about us?
And in here you have my cell. So I have DVD and movies from there. Here we have a real toilet with a shower and everything. You know, you can see everybody have their key, so they can open or close the doors whenever they want.
Wow.
Even though it's nice here, it's still not a summer camp. But I would like you to, look beyond the facilities. It's not the most important thing.
So this is the cell. Every cell is similar. And here we have the kitchen, where I used to prepare the food. You can see here, it's inside here.
That's a really important principle in Norway, which talks about that taking someone's liberty away and taking them away from their family, away from their community, that in of itself is the punishment.
That is exactly what I was thinking, is like being away from your family and being stripped of all your freedom is pretty much punishment enough, my opinion.
So life inside prisons should look as normal to life in the community as possible.
And in here, you have this washing room. You can wash the clothes and right.
Staying in a maximum security prison is not a normal life.
And I notice you're wearing...
No, I really like this, and this gives me comfort knowing that they have a pretty normal of a life as they can, because a lot of people come out and they're institutionalized, and a lot of people go back in because that's the only way of life they know how to live. And it's really sad but true.
You're just wearing normal clothes.
Yeah. That's allowed. You can wear whatever you want.
But that's also an ambition, to reduce the feeling of being in a prison as much as possible. That's, the normality principle.
How you can normalize the correctional setting for individuals to transition out. Bigger challenge in our system, but definitely something to think about. The commissary, the stores, where an individual actually gets to go to a real store and check out commissary items. I think that's a good add.
I really like this. Knowing this kind of firsthand, this is something that I've personally struggled with, coming out and having to go into grocery stores and having to be in the public and just being really uncomfortable about it because it's not what I'm used to doing.
Adds to the normalization.
We think this is the most important part. Dynamic security sounds like a very fancy thing, but it's really just having a normal interpersonal relations between the officers, or all staff really, and the inmates. Every inmate.
The role of the contact officer is one of the most important aspects of dynamic security. I really like that, especially with you in the jails here in America. They treat you like garbage. And even when you're innocent, you're innocent until proven guilty. And that's not how they treat you here.
Every inmate has a primary contact officer, and every officer had to have 2 or 3 inmates that he is the contact officer for. That was the ambition, from guard to also be a social worker. The main subjects at the academy: ethics, psychology, communication technique, criminology, law, human rights. Of course, they do learn self-defense, they do learn extraction techniques, they do learn to work as a team, but that's not the major components. It's about how do you treat people respectfully.
My family always think that I just play games, because that's why I like very much to play games. So I often play cards and stuff with inmates.
I know in some states it's forbidden and will.
That's very unusual to hear that you should sit and play cards with them, which is nice and all, that they treat you like regular human beings, but that in itself, I don't know.
With inmates.
I know in some states it's forbidden and will have consequences for you if you interact with inmates as a staff member. Quite the opposite here. We expect and demand an interaction between staff and inmates.
It's kind of friendship with someone, and to see the progress and see the changes, that's the best with the job.
The contact officer is, for example, sitting down with you and making you a future plan. So what for steps by steps to become a free man.
From day one.
Yeah.
So the officers need to know everything about the system and give advice to the inmates about the future, what steps should they take.
photos of my daughter, big love of my life. I've been here for 1.5 years, but I was transferred from a prison in Brazil. You can compare that to come from hell to heaven. So it's a big difference.
I'm gonna have to watch about Brazil.
The guards, first of all.
So stay tuned.
In Brazil, the guards are more you feel bad and weakness, the more they feel good. Here you have the guards, you know, they was very kind to me when I came. They are still very kind. We can speak, you know, they treat me as a human being. In Brazil, you get treated like an animal.
I've been working here since the opening in 2010, and I've been working in other prisons before that also. It's not for the prison to judge or to punish, because the police catch the guy, goes to the court, and it gets a sentence perhaps, and then it comes to prison with that. We have to interact and be human. I think it's as simple as that. It really is, because we can create walls between us, but that doesn't help anything. We have to communicate, we have to interact.
Without approaching people with respect and dignity, it's impossible to sit down the next day and talk about his future, because he will not have any trust in you. So in order to, you know, work well with reintegration and future planning, etc., there has to be, you know, a foundation there of trust between the staff and the inmates.
I've visited a lot of prisons in the United States as well, and somehow I don't have the same kind of feeling of, you know, relief of getting out of an impressive environment that I've experienced coming out of those prisons. I think that says something about how different the environment is here.
I think I have big opportunities here to prepare myself for the life after prison. I thought there is still hope, there is still opportunities, you know, to get a good life after getting out. So, yeah.
Alrighty, I really like that, and it does give me hope for America. One of these days, maybe we will get it together. So, thank you guys so much for watching, stopping by. If you like what you see, please subscribe. If you have any ideas of videos to do, put it down there in the comments, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.